everybody. So this is our introduction to Pass the Torch Week. And basically Pass the Torch Week is giving advice to rising sophomores, juniors, and seniors, and just guiding you guys through high school so that you kind of have like a better understanding of what you're getting yourselves into and maybe get some tips and advice that'll help you throughout this upcoming year. So today's panel is going to be for freshmen who are becoming sophomores next year. Exciting. And I'm Ashley. I'm the host. I'm currently a senior at Northwood High School. And we also have our Sophomore Class Council if you guys want to introduce yourselves.
Hey guys, I'm Rachel and I'm this year's sophomore president.
Hi, I'm Eugenie and I am this year's sophomore vice president.
I'm Chris and I'm in Sophomore Class Council.
I'm Ayushi and I'm also on Sophomore Class Council.
Hi, I'm Aditya and I am also on Class Council.
All right, so these are all the students that are going to be answering your questions today. And we chose questions that you guys specifically answered on our Instagram story last weekend. And if you don't know already, our Instagram is at NHS Tools, and make sure to follow for all affiliated school events and updates. All right, without further ado, here's your first question to answer. How is the workload compared to freshman year?
I definitely feel that the workload is a little bit bigger because like we're getting more accustomed to high school. So it's just like preparing us more for like junior, senior year and for colleges. I think as long as you don't procrastinate, like take your time and just really work through all the things. Like all the teachers are there to support you and it's just a really great environment. So don't stress about the workload. You guys got it.
Personally, I would also say that the workload is pretty similar, maybe a little bit more in sophomore year, definitely nothing to be alarmed about. I think something to definitely keep in mind is that freshman year, a lot of your curriculum has been adapted just because we're online, we're not going to school in person that many days. So simply going to school more days next year may make it seem like the workload is more, but I honestly think it's about the same and you guys will all do great.
Yeah, I think the workload is increased, but I think when you get used to it, like when you're second year of your high school, you kind of get used to doing the homework and doing everything with the schedule. So I feel like it may feel like hard in the beginning, but then by the middle of sophomore year, you get used to it already.
I personally feel like the workload's kind of similar just based on the teachers I had last year and this year. It's definitely more than middle school, but I feel like it's very manageable. And I think it also it definitely depends on the teacher you get. And it also kind of depends on how much you want to push yourself to do, because a lot of classes do offer like optional work for like extra credit or just optional work just so you can like become a better student. So it really depends on like what you feel like doing. And I feel like this year was really self-paced in a lot of lessons. So you could really like kind of test out to see how much you can handle for each subject. And with extracurriculars too, you know, obviously it's going to be work, but I think it's really simple to manage and really easy to like figure out how to deal with.
I guess kind of like wrapping up what everyone said here. I mean, it shouldn't be anything too alarming for everyone. I think it's a jump that like everyone takes from freshman to sophomore year, but everyone's kind of used to it and everyone kind of understands what they have going into sophomore year. And like kind of like Ayushi said previously, there are extracurriculars that people take, like whether it be sports, VAPA classes, or other clubs that you do. But I mean, for the most part, you've already been accustomed to that from freshman year. So it isn't really anything too large of a gap between freshman and sophomore year. It should be all right.
All right, this is a really good segue for our next question, actually. And the next question is, what are some ways to get involved in at school?
There are so many ways to get involved. Some of the ways I'm involved is in ASB, and then like Aditya said, VAPA classes, like those are in your schedule, but I'm in choir and it's so fun. So if you want to try any VAPA classes or any kind of sports or any kind of, or during like ASB, that would be really fun. Just like find things you're passionate about, or even if you don't know you're passionate about, if you maybe want to try it, you can just like test it out, especially if it's like a club or if it's like something where you apply for, you can just apply, go for it. And whether you get it or not, it's a great experience.
I would like to agree with Rachel. I am involved in a lot of schedule-based extracurriculars like orchestra, ASB. I'm also a part of the Howler right now, but I would say there's equally as many ways to get involved outside of your schedule. So if you already have a packed schedule or you like having that open period, that's totally fine. We have so many clubs here at Northwood, and I think there's definitely a way for you to find a club that you're truly passionate about and get involved in it. And if there's nothing quite like that, you can always feel free to make your own club or join an organization outside of school. And I think as long as you find something that you really care about, you're gonna succeed in high school.
I'll talk about sports because I think sports is a really good way to get involved in school because there's so many sports to play and with 3 different seasons and how there's different levels as well. So even if like you're new to the sport, you're still welcome. And I think sports just always has a good community and it like there's a bunch of team bonding. So I think it's really fun to meet new people.
I would say like I run a club Instagram, so I know how we do this, but a lot of clubs like to go after freshmen and like follow them. And sometimes it's like I don't even know who you are, but take advantage of that and like look through the profiles and like see what's happening because like one of the organizations I joined outside of school was like one of the ones that was like spam following me and I haven't regretted it. It's so much fun. So definitely look at like all the clubs that keep following you. There's like a club directory on the website, I'm pretty sure, NHS Den as well. And there's a lot of like out of school opportunities as well. Like if you just talk to some upperclassmen, your link crew leaders even, like I'm sure they know a bunch too, and you can get like more of like personal details on that. And I'm going to plug VAPA because I love VAPA. I've been involved in VAPA for 2 years here. So definitely join that because it's also really stress relieving. So yeah, those are some ways to get involved. Yeah.
I guess kind of like wrapping up again what everyone had to say. I mean, I think everyone has heard when you come into Northwood that like oh just like sign up for everything. And everyone's kind of like doesn't really want to do it because a lot of people at school are a lot like academic focused and like want to like have the most classes in their schedule. And I especially know that a lot of juniors this year dropped out in a bunch of classes like VAPA classes, sports, and a lot of other extracurriculars because they wanted to do the class that they want to take. But I've also heard a lot of seniors that regret not taking some of these classes. And I think it's really important to do things that aren't academic, like everyone kind of said, sports, clubs, or VAPA classes, because they really get you learning about different interests that you might have. And also to root for sports a little more, kind of like what Chris said. I get like sports is like a completely different family. And I mean, I'm in water polo and swim, and Chris is in swim. And I mean, just like the different bonds that you make with everyone on the team is just something that like you'll never forget. So join sports.
All right, so on the flip side, instead of extracurriculars, how do you maintain a great GPA? And I know a lot of students are worried about this, especially when they're thinking long-term, like college applications. So what tips and advice do you guys have for maintaining good grades?
First of all, I'm really guilty of this. Try not to procrastinate. Okay, but if you do, I would focus on the classes that maybe you struggle with more, like maybe put some more time and effort into those classes. And then those that you may excel more in, or maybe if you like feel more comfortable with those or you get the concepts a little better, maybe you can back up from that a little. That's mostly for if you're procrastinating. But just in general, I would just really pay attention in class because the teachers explain so much in class. Like, they do a really good job explaining everything. And if you need help, you can go to office hours. Like, teachers are always available to help you. And even if you can't attend their office hours, you can like reach out to them, email them, and they'll help you in any way they can. So I would just, if you don't know a concept, try to stay on top of that and really go after that before an assessment kind of thing. But always just look for your peers who understand that or any teachers, and I'm sure you guys will do great.
Like Rachel, I would really suggest focusing on the subjects you think you're a little bit weaker at, because if you devote more time to those subjects, it will help you overall with your studies. But another really great tip I have is to find a study group or find some friends who study the way you do, think the way you do, and try to work with them to make either study guides for tests, on homework, any homework help you need. Because when you have people who think like you and who study like you, it really helps you understand the concepts more, especially if your teacher isn't really teaching it in a way that you understand. And another one, of course, is to make use of office hours and tutorial, because our teachers are always on their office hours. I can't explain like how many times I've heard a teacher say like their office hours are completely empty, but they're sitting there waiting for us just to show up and ask questions. So if you're ever afraid or you're ever feeling lost, just make sure to attend office hours and get some help from your teacher.
I think one of the ways to keep a good GPA is have a good balance in life. So I know a lot of people, well, for example, I like to play video games, but the thing is, you can't always do it. So I think being able to do all your work and make sure that you get your all your homework or studying done before you do anything else, and having a good work schedule or like a planner is really helpful, and making sure you don't like you have to don't keep up with your work and make sure you have everything ready, or else if you fall back, you'll just all snowball and then it'll be harder and harder to catch back up. So I think having a plan or a schedule, especially a planner, helps a lot with getting all your work done.
Honestly, I have I'm not really sure completely how to answer this question, because obviously it'll vary from person to person, depending on, what classes you take, how much time you're willing to put into work. Like some kids, they're totally fine dedicating an hour to math homework because they want to make sure they understand the concept. And other kids are like, I'm going to spend 20 minutes max and go on TikTok for 3 hours, which I do. So no shame if you do that. But I think the best way to maintain a good GPA is being comfortable with your peers. Like me and my friend, we Zoom all the time for science quizzes, and because those are sometimes a little difficult, but we always end up doing pretty well because we have each other, and we have what she absorbed, what I absorbed. Maybe the teacher said something different in her class than she said in my class. So being able to collaborate with people, I think, is really important. And again, a GPA is not the most important thing. Obviously stats look great and all on an app, but ultimately the balance that Chris was talking about is the most important thing that's really going to make you not only a successful person for college, but just a successful person in general.
Well, I guess taking the step from freshman to sophomore year, you kind of understand a couple of the assignments that they have for each different course. And I think the one most important thing that I learned when going from freshman to sophomore year was to go back and kind of understand what I did wrong in freshman year. So I went back and kind of looked at a couple of the anchors that I had, a couple of the math tests that I had, see what I can improve on, because especially you're going to write another anchor in sophomore year, and then you're going to write a capstone, which encompasses all 3 anchors in one project. So going back and kind of understanding what you did wrong and talking to your teachers is really important. Kind of like everyone said, your teachers are always there for you. And I know a lot of people like to go into tutorials and they got just go on a computer and just chill with their friends, which I've done a couple of times. But well, it's really important to go to a teacher that you actually want help from, because it really helps you instead of having to cram for it at 11 o'clock at night, but the day before, instead of planning out your schedule and make sure that you have enough time for each class and making sure that you improve from any mistakes that you made prior.
All right, this is all amazing advice, you guys. And I would just like to point out that a lot of the things that they're saying don't apply to just sophomore year, but also junior year and senior year, and probably even more into the future. So definitely take what they're saying, just very absorb it. It's really good advice. And I thank you guys so much for all of this advice. All right, so now our next question is, what are some of the major events that happen sophomore year? And obviously this year is a little bit of a different year. We're mostly online, or it's half in person, half online, but what are some things that normally happen?
So in a normal year, Sophomore Class Council will be planning the Sadie's dance, or the whole Sadie's week. So that's the dance is supposed to be for girls to ask guys, but honestly everyone just goes with their friends. It's super chill, super fun, and it's just a great experience and a great way to just kind of I guess mingle with people. But for this year specifically, we had a lot of more online events. including like Sprint in the Spring, which just happened. And then we have like Sophomore Skills and Thrills. You guys will just look to your like sophomore president and vice president for like more class specific events. But overall, like in ASB, hopefully there'll be like football games you can attend or like other dances that the whole school gets involved in, and it's like super fun. Hopefully you get HOCO. That'd be really fun. So those are just some of like the major events that you guys might want to look forward to. They're all super fun, and it'll be such a great experience if you guys can go.
Yeah, I think Rachel covered the most sophomore specific event, which is the Sadie's dance. But other than that, there are so many cool events at our school. We have the back to school dance right as summer ends. We have HOCO season, which is always so much fun because there's football games and dress up days and HOCO and all the props on the grass. So that's definitely a major event everyone always looks forward to. We do have a winter formal right after winter break. We usually have a lot of pep rallies and food fairs held by the clubs. So there's honestly so many cool events here at Northwood. And I think just getting to experience those will be so much fun.
Eugenie and Rachel both covered the dances, but I think I feel like some people relate to me and where I'm kind of an introvert. I don't like to go out that much. I don't like to wear like a big fancy suit to dances. But dances at Northwood, like homecoming, cities, or back to school, you don't have to dress up. You wear like fun stuff. Like you get to dress up for whatever the theme the school is. For example, last year we had like a mystery theme, a Marvel theme, a Star Wars theme, and I think that was like really fun. Not having to dress up like really fancy, just have like a fun suit.
So obviously events are gonna like differ from each year because we get a new ASB panel every year and they plan like super fun new things for us. And also sophomore like class specific events, like obviously Sophomore Class Council is gonna plan something a little different next year and etc. But I think like obviously the back to school dance, that was actually the only dance I went to and I really regret it. I was like, I'm gonna go to winter formal like sophomore year, and like obviously it never happened. So take advantage of it. Like go to the dances. They're really fun. Even if you don't dance, even if you're kind of just like, you don't even like dressing up, like it's fine. You'll just feel good about yourself and have fun. And I also really miss pep rallies. Those were a lot of fun. And something else that I really missed that was like at the Oak a lot was like clubs would bring boba and like donuts and like sell them like every week. And it would be really exciting to watch like everybody come down the stairs and like hoard the boba. And it was really fun. So, you know, there's a lot of little things that happen throughout school that we obviously didn't get to this year, but hopefully we get them next year. And there's definitely something to look forward to.
I guess kind of going off what Ayushi said, like I didn't really go to a lot of dances because like Chris, I'm a little bit of an introvert. I don't really like going out with like a huge like group of people like to anywhere. But like after having I like not going to anything my freshman year and then having like not being able to go to anything my sophomore year because of COVID, I feel like I missed out on like a lot of opportunities to have fun. And I feel like especially for me coming in, I didn't really know a lot about dances or like ASB planned events because I thought they were like I guess like I thought they were for like extroverted like fun people, and like I wouldn't fit in anywhere, and like that I'd have to like mix in with a bunch of people that I didn't know. But like just going to the dance and just having a fun time is just something that like you really need, and especially like having to like go through the entire school year, you just need one day of the year where you just need like let everything out and just have a bunch of fun. So I really like hope that a lot of you guys go to the dances because I mean they're just really fun, and I mean who says no to fun? So.
Yeah, I think everybody just needs that break from school every once in a while. And after all those tests, you just want a day to rewind. And just going to a school event like a dance can just be so much fun. And just bring your friends. I'm sure you'll have fun. You'll find something there that'll just become a really great memory. Okay, and for our next question, what did you take for granted your sophomore year?
For me, because this year was a little different, I think I took the Zooms for granted because sometimes I would not pay attention in class because like my phone was just like right there. So while we still have the Zooms, I think just really use that time because like you can be eating while you're watching like that can like satisfy your need, because like when you go to school and if you don't bring like a snack or something, you could be like really hungry like me sometimes, or you could be like tired. So just like really take this time to like work on your mental health a little bit, because once you go back to school like 5 times a week, hopefully, it's going to be so fun. It's going to have like a lot of social interaction, but you might just be like a little bit more drained. So yeah, this could be like a good positive thing about quarantine. Just like take some time for yourself and just really reflect on that before we go into next year. So yeah, probably the Zooms. Yeah.
I would say something I kind of took for granted would be like the amount of time we have sophomore year. I know, especially on a day-to-day, hour-to-hour basis, it feels like everything's going really slow, especially with online classes with so many Zooms. It does feel like your sophomore year is going really slow, but when I look back on it, I feel like everything breezed by so quickly, and I wasn't necessarily able to get done all the things I wanted to do. So I would just say making sure you're handling your time well and making sure you have a plan of what you want to achieve in sophomore year will really help you, because then you won't, sit here and look back and be like, oh, I didn't do this, I didn't do that. But then again, everyone I feel like has those regrets. So if there's one thing you feel like you didn't do your sophomore year, don't worry about it. You have a whole summer, you have junior year, you have senior year, you're always going to be able to find that time to accomplish it. But just setting deadlines, setting goals for yourself will really help you manage your time well.
Something I think I took for granted is definitely office hours. Like in the beginning of the school year, I kind of felt like office hours were kind of like lame, that I just had a free period instead of just get a chill. But as like classes went on, I feel like I should have went to office hours and asked teachers about something I didn't understand, with like something they could teach me in like 5 minutes, but instead I tried to do it myself and took like an hour. I feel like there's a lot of wasted time, and that if I went to office hours, I would definitely be like doing better in school and having an easier time. So I think going to office hours is a huge help.
I think I definitely took our nice free Mondays for granted. Like we're filming this on a Monday right now because we have the time to. We wouldn't usually probably do that. So I definitely took that Monday for granted. I always left my work up until today. So I definitely don't recommend doing that. Like make sure you pace yourself out. And I think because, of this online schedule and stuff, like it was a lot easier to join extracurriculars and join all these things, because like you can just like hop from one Zoom meeting to the next and you can do a million things at once instead of driving places. So I think I definitely took that for granted. But I think going into next year, what I'm going to try to do is like space out my time more and like make sure things don't overlap, because I had a lot of overlaps this year. So just make sure you plan out your schedule and you should be good to go.
Kind of like Rachel said, I had like a huge issue with Zooms in the beginning of the year. I didn't really listen in any of my Zoom classes. Like the first 2 months were like pretty much all on Zoom. And like I like, to be honest, the first month I wasn't listening at all in class, and like I completely fell behind. So like I think it's really important to take like your independent days, like, and like make sure that you actually do your work on those independent days, because it actually does help you. And like kind of like Ayushi said, like cramming all your work on like Mondays, like Monday nights especially, isn't really going to help you learn or help you like do better at school. So I think like spacing out your schedule and making sure that you actually like listen in all of your in all of your Zoom calls, and like make sure you do all your independent classwork is really going to help you.
Yeah, definitely. All of you guys gave some really good insight, but learn and improve, Okay, so conversely, what is your favorite memory from sophomore year?
I honestly love sophomore year, even though there wasn't things we could do this year. It was like so much fun. So our lacrosse season just started, so I want to say like my favorite was when we won. I think we won against like Laguna, and it was just like such a good feeling. But just like the team environment is so amazing. So definitely recommend joining a sport if you haven't. You make so many amazing memories, and it was just so fun because like it was like a whole team effort, and like everyone just felt so proud, and it was just like such a fun experience to go through. So yeah, I would definitely recommend a sport, or just something where you're doing something as a team, or you make some friends, or anytime you can make memories with a friend or with multiple friends, it's just like such an amazing experience. So yeah.
It's kind of hard for me to pick my favorite memory because I have all of these good memories in my head right now. And what I would say is it often surprises me how a lot of my favorite memories are actually really little things. It's a bunch of little things combined. So I wouldn't say there's like one really huge memory that makes up my favorite, but I think meeting up with my class council on Monday mornings, or painting posters with ASB at the park, or just all these little things like working with my Howler team, getting to play in the theater with my orchestra, just all these little things that we've been able to have throughout this school year, even though we're mostly online. These little things have really brought me so much joy over the course of this school year. And I hope that these little things continue to bring you guys joy when you are sophomores, and also the big things, because I hope you guys get to have the Sadies, you guys get to have all these big, fun, in-person events. So I hope you get to enjoy them both.
One of my most favorite memories is probably as a sport, just like Rachel. I think for me, swim was really nice to have. Like we just started our season, but it's really nice to actually hang out with the team and the coach. So last year it got cut short. So I like going to practice, having fun with your friends, doing relays, having fun with your coach, I think is just such a good community. And that's why I think it's really like important to join a sport because it's super fun.
For me, I would probably say when we were able to go back in person, like after a good like 8 months of not being in person at school, like I think I was like, it was like kind of like, it felt really awkward. I was like, I don't remember doing this, but you know, we got used to it, and with the mass and the cohorts and everything. So I think that was a really fun memory. And I also think like I didn't take art last year, but I took it this year. And at first I was like, well, I do art anyways. Like, what's the point of taking the class here? But I literally love that class so much. It's like so relaxing and like no stress, and like, you know, like the time limits or like the due dates, they're super flexible. And I always have like that class that I can go to that I can just like unwind and like listen to music. And if I have to catch up on homework, do that. So, you know, Chris plugged sports, but I'm going to plug art. So you should join art.
And I'm going to plug back sports because my favorite memory at school was having to, like just going back to sports, because in the beginning of the school year, we didn't really have sports. And for water polo, since it's a high contact sport, we were really like planning to have a season, but in the end, we were able to have at least like a month period where we were like able to play games. And like a specific moment from that I liked, I was just like being able to play with the seniors for the last time, because a lot of the seniors like were hoping that there wasn't, we're like thinking that there wasn't a season, and in the end, like having those like 3 weeks even just to play with, you know, all the freshmen and like sophomores and juniors was just a fun time. And like seeing them like, you know, just have fun in their last like year at Northwood, and you know, like talking to them about all the memories that they had, or their past experiences. It was just a fun experience going back to sports. So yeah, you should really join sports. It's a great family. It's a great way to bond with anyone from freshmen all the way to seniors.
Sports are definitely cool, but as a VAPA student, I'm definitely saying you should join any VAPA class. There's literally so many. I've been in band the past 4 years. I've done classical jazz and marching band, all great classes. It's so rewarding when you have a final performance and you have concerts. And if you've been in band past years, like, you know, it's different this year, but I definitely recommend joining band. And the directors are so sweet and so nice, and they really do care about you. So I plug band. But anyway, for our last question, what is one final piece of advice you would like to give to incoming sophomores?
I have like so many, but also like none at the same time. For me, I think the biggest advice, going back to the question about getting involved, I would really take advantage of the ASB events. Just a plug for ASB, because I love ASB and I think you guys should all join. But if you guys don't join and just want to like attend the events with your friends, I really think you should like use that time, because I went to like a total of like 2 football games my freshman year, And I was like really sad because they were so fun. So if we have like football games this year where everyone can go, I think it would be such a great experience for you guys to just like even go once just to experience it. I don't know if you guys like want to be that person as like that senior who like never went to any dances or like any football games. It's just going to take away from your experience. So I would just really make sure to go to an event, and that just is going to help your mental health, because like mental health is so important, especially right now. So just keep a look on that and just like watch out for that. Don't like just like try to cram everything in, like take a break if you guys need it. So I feel like football games or like ASB events or just like any extracurricular could be a great source of stress relief. But if that's not a stress relief, find something like art, music, sleep, anything that can just help you relieve stress, because that's really important to manage all your stuff.
Kind of going off of what Rachel just said, I kind of have two main points. One is just try to find that balance within your life. And the second one is just don't be afraid to step outside of your comfort zone. Because honestly, ultimately, high school is 4 years. It's 4 years of your life. And what you do with those 4 years ultimately is up to you. You can make the best of them. You can challenge yourself, but you also have to remember to set that time aside for yourself. And I know we live in such a driven community where everyone seems like they're always so focused on academics. So what I really want to stress is that balance between doing what you love. And if that's academics, totally go for it. But if that's VAPA, if that's sports, if that's anything else that's not considered just your normal, typical academic class, go for it and do what you're truly passionate about, and make sure you're balancing those passions and your classes at school. And I think that'll really make sure you have a fulfilling high school experience. And of course, going off of my second one, don't be afraid to challenge yourself. Don't be afraid to speak out in the clubs you have. Don't be afraid to ask questions in class, join new things, try new things you've never tried before. Because I know my freshman year, I joined choir and I've never sung before. I've never sung before in my life. And I was so nervous. I didn't know, what my voice range was. I didn't know anything, but it ended up being one of the things I loved most about my freshman year. So just don't be afraid to try new things and step outside of your comfort zone.
To add on to Rachel and Eugenie, I like how they mentioned the work life or school life balance. I think something to have that balance is having the skill of time management, because I think it's really important to being able to make sure, like having a schedule, make sure you get everything done before you go hang out with your friends, or make sure you have enough time when you come home with your friends to finish your homework before it's due or to study for a test. Or like if you know you have an event this weekend, that you should do your homework before the weekend. So I think time management is a really good skill, not only in high school, I think just life in general is a really good skill to learn.
So for me, I would say like sophomore year, we started hearing a lot more about like college and college credit and like stuff like that. So it kind of like psychs you out a little. But I think the most important thing to keep in mind is like, instead of joining a million things because you think a college is going to like you should just do what you're honestly passionate about, because that will come across, and that will be good for you. And it'll also be good, for your college admission and whatever. And I also think that you should like be comfortable talking to your teachers. Like if you need an extension, like just like it doesn't hurt to ask. It doesn't hurt to be like, hey, I have a lot of work. Like, do you think I could turn this in at a later date? So just like being comfortable with that, taking risks, and doing what you're truly passionate about is like the biggest piece of advice I can give.
So I kind of have two things. So one, I think that a lot of people that are here like on the council today, a lot of us have just like recently filled out schedules for junior and senior year. And like that was like a really stressful like time for a lot of people. And this is for like the end of sophomore year. I know a lot of friends that like put more effort in academic classes, so they dropped sports, VAPA classes, just like left clubs because they wanted to focus a lot on academics and like boosting GPA. So I think that a lot of people think it's important to colleges just for them to see his GPA number. You know, it's like a 4.6 GPA. Every college is going to accept me. I mean, that's not really the reality for everyone. So, I mean, making sure that, like, kind of like Chris said, making sure that you have a balance in your life. So making sure you don't just take all academic classes, and making sure that you take things that you're interested in as well is really important. And the second thing I really want to say is kind of what Eugenie said, like to like step out of your comfort zone. Because when I was in freshman year and I saw ASB, I thought of ASB something that I would never do. Because I mean, you have to, like, especially if you're running for an elected position, you pretty much have to put yourself out in front of the entire school and pretty much like tell people to vote for you. And I mean, just the idea of doing that was something that I was super scared of. But when I did it this year, I mean, it really is a rewarding feeling. And I think being an ASB is really something that everyone should do. And just being something that like make sure that like you're stepping into like outside of your comfort zone, whether it's like trying to join a club, become like the club president, or making your own club. I think it's really important to step away from just academic like focus and to try different things around school.
Yeah, guys, high school is just the beginning of your life. You're going to have so much time to learn everything. And high school, you should have fun, make memories that will last you a lifetime. You're going to have great friendships. Maybe they'll last you forever your life, maybe only these 4 years, but definitely make the most of high school and just have fun doing it. So that was our last question. Thank you guys for coming today. Thank you to our vice president and president and our class council members. You guys did an amazing job and provided great advice. And I hope that you rising sophomores definitely found at least one thing that you can take with you, take from this panel that will help you for next year and really make some good decisions for yourselves and learn from everything that we've also learned. So just to be aware, we're also having our panels for rising juniors and rising seniors this upcoming week as well. And even if you guys are only sophomores right now and you still want to take a look, definitely go ahead and do it. I definitely recommend it. Like I said, a lot of the advice they said in this panel applies to other future years. So maybe you want to check out those panels and see if you can apply it to your sophomore year as well. And also make sure to follow at NHS Tools for more ASB and school events. All right, that's all we have for today. So thank you guys. Bye.